Hello Prep 3, welcome to the last lesson of this tour, which is about sexual and asexual reproduction. Firstly, the meaning of reproduction itself. Reproduction process, it is the biological process where the living organisms produce new individuals of the same kind. It's an important one, of the same kind. Why? To ensure its continuity, to protect its species from extinction. And there are two types of reproduction. Number one, we call it asexual reproduction, and the second one we call it sexual reproduction. What is the difference between them? Let's go. The first one we call it asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is the process by which living organisms produce new individuals with genetic traits identical, which is the most important one. Identical means similar to those of their parents. Living organisms produce new individuals identical or copy from their parents, means from only one parental cell, or one parent, not two parents. It occurs in unicellular organism. Uni means contains one cell. It's very small living organisms, or some of multicellular organisms. And there are many types of asexual reproduction. The first one we call it binary fission. Binary fission, it is the type of asexual reproduction where the nucleus divided mitotically. Mitotically, it's so easy now to differentiate between meiotic and mitotic. All the asexual reproduction, the nucleus divided mitotically. Then the cell is split into two identical cells. I mean the cell cut into two, elongated and cut into two cells, two copy or two similar cells. Where it occurs in unicellular organisms, like amoeba, paramecium, and euglena, and also some algae, and the most important one, which is bacteria. When you look at here on the right side, you find paramecium, amoeba, euglena. This one here, binary fission, paramecium. Paramecium, the cell itself, elongated, stretched, and the nucleus cut it into two, then by the end, cut it into copy or similar cells. Also, other side here, binary fission in amoeba. The cell, also one cell elongated, and the nucleus elongated, and the nucleus cut into two and produce two similar or two identical or two copy cells from the parent cell. This one here, this is also the example, but in another amoeba. This is the amoeba here. The cell itself elongated, stretched, and the nucleus, as you can see, it's so clear, it's the door port in the middle. The nucleus elongated and stretched and cut into two, then by the end it produced two similar cells. But what about bacteria? Bacteria, it's also the same. This is one bacteria cell here. Bacteria cell. The genetic material duplicated. The amount of genetic material chromosomes inside it duplicated, means double, means becomes twice. The genetic material is spread into two cells here, and two identical cells are produced. Two cells, then by the end cut into two similar cells. This is number one, we call it binary fission. The second one is budding. Budding, we call it budding because the living organism may be unicellular organism or multicellular organism. Unicellular organism like hydra, or multicellular organism unicellular organism like yeast fungus, and multicellular organism like hydra and sponge. Each one will produce a port that come out from it, we call it bud. So the process itself, we call it budding, due to bud. Reproduction by budding, it's asexual reproduction, producing new individuals by formation of buds from the parent cell. What is the bud? When you look at it here, this is yeast fungus, and this is hydra, and this is sponge. How? When you get a piece of yeast fungus and put it in sugar solution, in warm water, you find it by the time grow, a small part grow from it. This one we call it bud. This bud produces a new one. But the nucleus cut into two. One of the two nucleus migrates or move to the new cell, and the other nucleus stay in the mother cell or the main cell. This one produce this bud, grow and produce a new cell. Maybe each one, as you can see here on the right side, each cell produce a new one, and one. All of them stick together. Okay, we call it colony. Sometimes stick together to produce colony, as you can see here, or one produce bud. This bud grow, and move away from its parent cell. So may be separated or stick together. If they stick together, called colony, or may separated away from each other. This one here, as you can see, this one in the image under microscope of the yeast fungus. When you put it in sugar solution and warm water, and you see it under microscope. So the bud in yeast fungus, okay, produce, we call it lateral plug in the cell. The cell nucleus divided mitotically or mitosis into two nucleus, as we said before. One of the two nucleus remains in the parent cell, and the other nucleus migrates to the bud to produce a new one. The third one, we call it regeneration. Regeneration itself, it is the ability of animal, okay, or living organism to compensate the missing part. The most famous or common one, which is the starfish. So the process, we call it itself, we call it reproduction by regeneration. It is the ability of missing parts in some living organisms, okay, like a starfish, okay, to grow, forming complete organism, identical or copy to the parent individual. Like a starfish here, this one. It's very important to understand that the arms of the starfish, okay, but in the middle here, when you look at the image, this part in the middle, we call it central disc. When you cut any arm of the starfish, but it's very important, contains a part of the central disc. It regenerates to produce a new one, or a new starfish. The fourth one, we call it sporangy or spore propagation. It is the type of asexual reproduction that occurs in some fungi, okay, and algae by producing spores. It occurs in bread mold fungus and mushroom and some algae. This one here, this is a piece of bread. When you put a small water on the bread and put it in a plastic bag and close it tightly and leave it for a time, you find the green substances here. Okay, maybe white or green. By the time it's color more dark, it change to green, then to black. When you look at it under microscope, you find this one. This one here, okay, it's grow up. Okay, we call it holder. At the end, you can find the spores or spore case. This case filled with the spores. When these spores grow, then the case exploded, all the spores falls down in the bread. Okay, each one grow and produce one. So it reproduced asexually by spores or spore propagation. It is the same also here on the left side in mushroom. So this one, bread mold fungus, you can find it easily on the bread, and this one on the left side, which is mushroom. Next, we call it vegetative. Vegetative from the name. Why vegetative? Because it's in vegetables. So it's a time of asexual reproduction taking place in plants, but without seeds. Because it's asexual reproduction. How? By some parts of the plants, maybe leaves or roots or stem. The most common may be roots or what? Or leaves. Roots like, for example, like carrot, like onion, like potatoes. Stem like sugar cane, like potatoes. Roots, sweet potatoes, while stem, potatoes itself. You can put it easily, okay, and grow. Maybe natural, okay, like as we said, some parts of a plant, or artificial, we call it tissue culture. Tissue culture is a small one. You can cut a small piece and put it in a specific type of artificial substance like food, okay, to let it grow more and more. The next one, okay, we call it sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, it is the process by which living organisms produce new individuals, but with the traits different or differ from their parents. Why? Because the genetic material or chromosomes come from two sources, half from male and the other half from female. So the new individual different, not copy from male or not copy from female, contain the properties of both of them. So the new individual is different. And it also occurs in higher living organism, okay, multicellular organism that inside its body reproductive cells, okay, and by meiosis. How it depends or takes place by two processes. Number one, gametes formation, and the second one, fertilization. What's mean by gametes formation? In each living organism, maybe male or female, inside a reproductive system, okay, or this reproductive system produce reproductive cells, or we call them gametes. So gametes in organisms are formed in cells known as reproductive cells, maybe sperm in male animals and ovum in female, and also in plants, pollen grain, okay, in male and ovum in female. This one here, each one contains, each one of the reproductive cells or gametes contains half number of chromosomes. It's very important one, contains half number of chromosomes, N. The second step, now each one produce gametes. What is the second one, or the second step? The second step, fertilization. Fertilization means the combination of male and female gametes together. This one here. When you look at the definition of fertilization, it is the combination of male gametes and female gametes to form what? To form zygote. Zygote or fertilized egg. This one contains 2N, contains the whole number of chromosomes, which contains the normal number of chromosomes 2N. This zygote grow and more and more and more to produce embryo. This embryo, okay, grow more and more, okay, to produce the baby. So the zygote here, okay, it is a cell produced due to the fertilization, and it contains the complete number of chromosomes of the living organism, 2N. This one here, why the sexual reproduction is a source of genetic variation. Variation means different. Why the sexual reproduction is a source, is the reason of variation of difference between living organisms? Because the genetic material comes from two sources. They have from male and the other have from female, this one. And the second one is due to crossing over, okay, in prophase 1. Okay, this is the end of our lesson. Thanks a lot and see you in the last time.